bit of a thriller, bit of a doubleheader, so give us a taste.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of pitching, but at the same time, some interesting offensive scenarios as well. I mean, we dipped into extra innings because of the lack of offense in the first game, 1-1 after 6 complete. That's kind of how you have to remember it. I mean, each night a little bit different. Today we'll play 7 scheduled between these two teams, but overall, I mean, you look at the first game, A.J. Coleman did a really nice job kind of stranding base runners. He allowed a couple leadoff base runners here or there, about 3 of them in the first 5 innings, and was able to limit that damage. And then Zach Jones had what may be considered a rough inning. I mean, only 1 hit, a walk and a hit by pitch, and 1 run came across, but he really did a great job settling down after that, worked 3 1-2-3 innings in a row and even 12 straight before giving up a few base runners in that 5th inning where he eventually departed. But the offenses were a weird thing, and you know, when you got to extra innings, you have that international tie-breaking run rule at second base. Beavers had 3 separate opportunities with a runner on third base, just couldn't cash in, and in the end the Unicorn said, I'm gonna take this from you pretty quick. They got 3 runs. Colby Johnson was the big story with a 2-run home run overall. But today, it'll be interesting to see, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, because, you know, the Hoppers really haven't played in a while, so offensively they might be kind of dealing with the same things. But
Right, the last time the Hoppers played was on July 9th, and given, you know, we did have the All-Star game in between them, but they haven't collectively played as a team since July 9th. But dialing into what's happening here today, both right-handed pitchers will get the nod here in the USPBL. For the Eastside Diamond Hoppers, it's going to be Ricardo Velez, and for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, it's going to be Jackson Hicks. But very interesting, it seems like the main storyline for both pitchers, Jeremy, is going to keep those walks down. They both have had dynamite numbers when it comes to strikeouts, with their amount of strikeouts preceding the amount of innings of work they put in so far this season, but keeping that command is going to be very key.
yeah, and it's fun to watch these two guys. It was fun to watch the guys yesterday leading into the matchup because, you know, Velez, he started out kind of slow with his delivery in the first start, but he's since really speeded that up, I think, with some instruction from the USPBL pitching staff. And Hicks, you know, he's been a great story so far. Just, you know, his bottom storyline, which we've talked about so often here on the USPBL network, but he's the guy that likes to work quickly as well. And like you said, the velocity is there for both of these guys, and it seems the trend is either, hey, we have 92, 93 on a consistent basis, or we have a really good movement and able to mix around pitches like an A.J. Coleman and some other guys. But good pitching overall, and the offenses have struggled.
Yeah, but specifically for Velez, really looking for that slider. Seems to be dynamite against righties, especially going up against a lineup that is primarily batting from the right-hand side. But we've talked about the Hoppers earlier in the broadcast. Talk about what you're expecting to see from them offensively, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's a tough get about, and we've kind of, you know, mentioned it throughout the year here on the USPBL network. Willie Martin has even mentioned it on air as well, in terms of, you know, these guys not necessarily playing every day. When you see professional baseball, most of the time, you know, you're playing 5, 6, even 7 times a week sometimes. So it's what you do off the field, and it's tough when you have those off-field scenarios because there's not a lot of live pitching that happens in those workouts and, you know, things that happen away from Jimmy John's Field because there's other events happening here. So don't really get access to the field much besides game day and besides some workouts and practices beforehand. So it's going to be really interesting to see what these Hoppers had. I think they were starting to gel a bit more together on the lineup side of things, but, you know, first pitch strikes are probably going to be an important thing here today for these pitchers, and if they get them, you might see a lot of strikeouts.
Absolutely. Well, it's a beautiful day to come here and join us here at Jimmy John's Field. So let's get to the lineups for today. For the away team, the Westside Woolly Mammoths, we have leading off Logan Herring out at first base. Batting second is Nick Caruso out in left field. Playing center field, batting third is Lamar Briggs. Batting cleanup as a designated hitter is going to be Trent Bauer. Following batter, batting fifth is going to be Colton Horner, who's catching at second base. Batting sixth is Noberto Navarro. Batting seventh, playing the hot corner, is Spencer McGee. Batting eighth is Jalen Smith out in right field. And at shortstop, rounding out the lineup, is going to be Adrian Guzman.
On the other side, for the Hoppers, it's Ben McConnell leading things off and playing right field, kind of been a spark plug to the top of that lineup. Adam De La Cruz batting second and playing short. It's Castellano, Vaughn Jr., and Nick Kreitzer, 3, 4, 5 today. Jason Aponte will bat sixth and play center field. Felix Abaret in the catching spot. He hits seventh. Will Crucina and Chris De Los Santos will round it out as they face Jackson Hicks here today, Jenna.
Eastside Diamond Hoppers versus the Westside Woolly Mammoths, 1:05 p.m. You won't want to miss it here on the USPBL Network.
stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Having a good time. A shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, go, go. There's no stopping me. No stopping, no stopping.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well-earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Your neighbors are going to be jealous when they see you're getting a new Connecticut water system. Say goodbye to hard water problems. No more spots on your glassware. Your laundry will feel and smell better. Your hair and skin will look and feel better. Say goodbye to hard water problems and say hello to great tasting crystal clear water with CGC Water.
Today's game is presented by Fairy Tale Entertainment and proudly sponsored by the following: AAA, Ascension, Balfour Property Restoration, Budweiser, DTE Energy, Fifth Third Bank, Jimmy John's, Macomb Community College, McLaren Macomb, your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, Pepsi, Scott's, Valpak, and UWM. We thank all those fine partners for what they do for this league. Velez taking the mound for the Hoppers here. Hoppers just got to feel good that there's no rain in the forecast, I think, today. Right, Jenna?
Right. It's a beautiful day today. Excited to see some fans starting to pour in before game time.
A little bit of a late arriving crowd here today, but everybody may be getting out of bed a little bit later. I know I got home about midnight here today. Seems like, or yesterday. Oh, yeah, today, right?
Technically
today from yesterday. But a long day of baseball yesterday. The offense light in game one. Hoppers hoping that they can bring some offense here to begin this one here today. And we've talked about it before, certainly with the 6-inning games, but again, this is a scheduled 7-inning game here today, so kind of cliche, but it is important to get things going early because that one at-bat or that one swing could change something majorly for the other squad.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how the Eastside Diamond Hoppers perform today because while they've had downtime, they've still been working out, they've still been going to practices, so to see what specific players were able to utilize that time to increase their performance, we'll see here today against the Mammoths.
Velez checking into play here today with the 16 2/3 innings on the mound so far. This will be his 5th start. All of his appearances have been starts to this point. 11 walks to 25 strikeouts to this point. Certainly will be interesting to see how these Hoppers batters are able to perform. But this Mammoths team, if they did play their game the other day, would have had 4 games under their belt this week. That's what the Unicorns had when yesterday was finished. And everybody will get a few more at-bats than normal as the first pitch drives in at 1:02 p.m. Eastern time here, because the next 4 weeks we'll have Wednesday through Sunday baseball here at Jimmy John's Field. 1-0 high and away. And that's something when you speak to the players that it's kind of different for them. Some guys, I mean, for a college rotation, even you're playing a lot of weekend games and a lot of double headers, so if you get lucky enough to play that doubleheader here in the USPBL, you get a few more at-bats, but always trying to see live pitching at some point.
Especially when you take into consideration the adjustment going from college ball to pro ball with the velocities and with these 2 pitchers that we're seeing today, and Ricardo Velez and Jackson Hicks, they're both throwing over 90 miles per hour. So interested to see how those players fare today.
And kind of the benchmark for at-bats, I mean, at the major league level, you kind of look at 100 as a pretty good benchmark. 2-1 is slap foul. Unfortunately, for a lot of these guys, they won't even get to that point this year, especially for the ones who have kind of filtered in later on in the season. 30 is kind of the threshold for them. Okay, I got 30 at-bats. Got to keep working through things. Then 50, which a lot of the guys are over and onto 60 and 70 that have been here since the start. 2-2, wow. Really nice slithering slider there for strike 3. 1 up and 1 down here in the first.
Yeah, that slider's been working very well for Velez so far this season. We look at those 25 strikeouts specifically his main put-away pitches have been his curveball and his slider.
Yeah, 14 Ks on the slider. He does have a few more walks probably than he would like. 6 of them for Ricardo. But overall, adjusting well to the pro level. And that's a good point you bring up in terms of, you know, the velocity pitching. We've got a lot of NAI guys here, and guys that have come from pretty good leagues, and they'll see, you know, 90 at sometimes, certainly high 80s a good amount, but it's not only the velocity, it's the command of the breaking balls that you see, the change-ups that they bring. The arsenals are just deeper at this level because they have to be, right, if these guys want to move on. Nick Caruso, Lamar Briggs, Trent Bauer, the top 4 in the lineup here today, brought to you by Zach Hart Agency for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Jason Aponte playing way over and right. Let's check the rest of the defense, brought to you by AAA of Michigan. It's Greg Vaughn Jr. in left, Aponte in center, McConnell out in right, De Los Santos and Crushina on the corners, Castellano and De La Cruz, your double play combination here today, and Aberrett catching the tosses from Velez. 2-1, ooh. Had him way out in front of that one. 2-2 on Caruso now. The slider once again from Velez. Not as much spin on that one, but some drastic break at the end. And there's 2 in a row, and he carves up Caruso. 2 up and 2 down. Here comes a hitter in Lamar Briggs, who's been pretty hot of late. 346 in the average column. Certainly one of the better hitters here in the USPBL. We knew he had that potential last year, and we talked about it several times here on the broadcast in terms of the adjustments he was making with his swing, beating a lot of balls on the ground early on this year. But when they made those adjustments and when they clicked, they really clicked.
Yeah, we've seen it. I was definitely rooting for Briggs when it came to the home run derby for the All-Star game. Definitely one of the underdogs.
Yeah, more of a line drive hitter, so you wonder how that translates to a derby like that as Briggs takes strike 2. It's been that kind of inning. Yeah, he's got to step out because the first 2 have struck out. That's the last thing you want to do is go down 1-2-3 with 3 Ks. Velez looking to do just that. The 0-2 stamped to the outside. The fastball at 92, but away. Fastball has averaged 91, been all the way up to 94 so far this year. Throws that 47% of the time. Another slider that got away that time. His best sliders today have been at 82. Maybe try to yank that one. And there is a friendly spider crawling across our table. Matt Snyder trying to handle that. He can't get it out of the napkin now. This one on to Castellano, throws off balance, and he is able to chuck it over to first base. So Velez does not strike out the side, but gets weak contact to the right side, and that will end it 1-2-3. Time for Sweetheart of the Game, always brought to you by Thrifty Florist. Check out who we have here today. JJ will deliver flowers to Cindy here today. She's in section 101 to our right. And it doesn't look like we can track down Cindy, but congratulations to Cindy. She's your Thrifty Florist Sweetheart of the Game. Back with more after this. You're in the USPBL Network.
About the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
Attention, Michigan, there is absolutely no need to drive all over town searching for new flooring. When the Carpet Guys will come to your house on your schedule, we'll bring our store to your door so you can shop in the comfort and privacy of your own home. And you'll love our huge selection. Buy right now with interest-free financing for up to 4 years. You can carpet your entire home for as little as $11.99 per month. Let the Carpet Guys take the stress out of buying new flooring. Call for a free in-house shopping experience today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855 for my guys.
There's Jackson Hicks on the mound for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Take a look at how Velez and Hicks line up. Brought to you by Ascension here today. Slim ERA for the slim right-hander through 30 1/3 innings of work. Really intrigued to see how many strikeouts he may get tonight just because of what we've already talked about so far. Reminder, we're back on Facebook this week. So if you like watching the games over there, you can head there. But we'd love to see you stick to either Facebook or YouTube this whole game on what is a great Sunday for some baseball. Expected high of 86 degrees in the Metro Detroit area here today. McConnell, De La Cruz, Castellano, your Zach Hart agency 3-men due up. 82 here at game time. Humidity creeping up a bit, 49%. That was not the case really at all yesterday. Made for a really nice night. Dipped down to around 70, 69 by the time things were over in the end. Now the 1-0 from Jackson away at 92. Hicks comes into play today. Mostly throwing that fastball splitter combination. Splitter has been a plus pitch for him since he's got here. 3-0 is in for strike one, and kind of as we mentioned before, if any pitcher can kind of develop a third strong pitch. That makes you very valuable at the next level. For Hicks, it's the changeup. 3-2 on Ben McConnell. Fastball velo strong for both of these arms to start today's game. And already 3 combined strikeouts between the two.
You can see there Hicks was working McConnell on the outside part of the plate. Typically when you see McConnell's production in the past offensively, most of his singles have tended to be to the opposite side.
And we see that from a number of batters. Some you might be surprised by. Greg Vaughn Jr., a guy that really hits it a lot to center field, 58% of the time for Greg. 0-1. Hardy swing and a miss, 0-2.
And talking about tendencies, De La Cruz is one of those batters who typically operates on the pull side. Aggressive swing, brings the power up to that left side.
0-2 high, hitting a bit higher in the lineup lately. Been right around 7 or 8 for Paul Noce so far this season. Certainly the veteran on this squad. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Hicks. Check the defense behind Jackson today, brought to you by AAA of Michigan. It's Caruso in left, Briggs in center, Smith in right. McGee and Herring on the corners, Navarro and Guzman, the dazzling double play combination up the middle, and Colton Horner catching the pitches from Hicks here today. I was talking to John Dombrowski, co-manager of the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Both him and Taylor Jellikowski really have a good handle on the catching duties, and obviously Taylor was a catcher in the pro ranks and some in high school. 0-1 outside. They like to implement working with guys on the one knee type of crouch, as you see from Colton Horner here, 1-1. And John said, at first, they don't really push it in terms of saying, hey, you have to go down to this position. They feel that catchers can be more athletic in doing that and actually doesn't impact your receiving. 2-2 on Castellano allows you to block balls better because you're already down to a certain extent as well. 2-2 poked over the head of Navarro into right center field. So a strikeout, and a single against Jackson Hicks here in the first.
Nice dive by Castellano. You can see there already he's hitting 375 off of pitches that are 90 plus. So, he's definitely have a good eye every time he steps up in the bat.
And we see more and more of that, I guess, especially lately from these arms. Especially on the starter side of things. Saw some relievers, especially last night, and Jack Ferguson, who only runs that up there at 86, but he's throwing from that submarine angle. Ferguson gutting out 3 innings last night. Nearly every pitch he had was in an adverse situation because he pitched 2 in extra innings, where that runner starts on second base, saw 3 runners stand on third base as the potential winning run. Vaughn Jr. looks at a quick strike 2, and that's something that Hicks is doing extremely well here today, his first pitch strikes. Everybody back and spread out with 2 outs and 2 strikes here. There's a fastball up top. Jeremy Addo alongside Jenna Rose to bring in the call here today. So glad you could tune in. PJ Grudowski, our director. 1-2, pipes it in. 3 Ks for Jackson Hicks here in the first inning. It's the game of the pitcher here early on in this one.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council. I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward. Not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
There's Velez back out for his second inning of work. I think 2 constants from both Hicks and Velez. They look pretty strong out there in that first inning, didn't they?
Yeah, they definitely did. They're bringing the velocity. They're able to paint the corners of the plate, and they're able to incorporate different pitches from their arsenal. And as you talked about previously in the broadcast, that's very important when you want to go up to the next level to be able to utilize what's in your arsenal.
Strikeout, strikeout, ground out for Velez. Hicks was really looking like he was in line for a 1-2-3 inning. Gave up a single to Castellano that just kind of floated over the head of Norberto Navarro at second base.
It seems as though it's going to be the main theme from Velez today. We're seeing those strikeouts, we see the velocity, but he's also a ground ball pitcher. He typically induces those over 42% of the time.
That can certainly be a dangerous opportunity for opposing offenses when you can wear the fastball up at 92. It's not always the case when you throw that hard that you also have a pretty high ground ball rate. So in that, when runners get on base, you have a decent shot at getting a double play no matter who it is. Now the 1-0. Fly ball in a line to right field. McConnell going back on it. Crashes up to the fence as he makes the catch. Boy, he's made a few like that this year. Look pretty easy in the end.
Yeah, but that's how you know that outfielders are very familiar with their space. You could see he wasn't nervous when he approached the wall. You could see that warning track back there, so I'm sure his spatial awareness is pretty tight.
And it's kind of an odd view for us up here as well. Had a little bit of trouble yesterday on the Connor Bagneski triple that literally hopped right in front of the warning track because there's no signage in terms of sponsors really from the sound stage all the way to the foul pole in right field. And the ball bounced. So it'll bounce because there's just cement right after the fence ends just before the berm starts out there. So it's a bit tough to see what happens when those balls sink down. 1-0 is away, 2-0. And kind of speaking to that fact, including the foul territory here as well, it's always an adjustment for players because there's so much of it, and there's certain areas of the field that jut out in interesting places. 2-0 is away, but I think we're starting to see some more balls be caught in that deep foul territory, both by outfielders and infielders. That's the one benefit, I guess, of playing at one field your whole time with the USPBL. You get pretty used to the conditions. Ponte way over to the right side of second base. Vaughn Jr. pretty far off the line. Here's the 3-1. Another fastball away. The first walk that Velez uncorks here in the second. Brings up Norberto Navarro now. Navarro does a really good job at hitting the off-speed pitches and the breaking balls. Well over 300 in both of those categories. Heading into the couple of games the other day, he was hitting 400 on the off-speed pitches. On the ground to De La Cruz, turns to second in time, over to first, not quite. The mini bobble at the beginning of that play may have cost him. Regardless, it's the second out of the inning, only with the runner on first base. Spencer McGee, the last shot here for the Mammoths. McGee, Smith, Guzman Your Zach Hart Agency, 3 men at the bottom of the order here today for the Mammoths. And it's interesting to kind of see these center fielders, a lot of them playing shallow these days. Celaya likes to. Galassi kind of mid-range when he plays in center for the Unicorns. Bagneski was playing a pretty shallow center field when he started game 1 for the Beavers there. Oh-1 did not check his swing there. 0-2 on McGee on that slider. It's a slider with some above average spin. Be a really good spin on a curveball from what he's been throwing it so far here today. 0-2 running jumping start for Horner over at first. Outside again. I'll remind you can chime in with us on Facebook and YouTube in the chat section. Love to hear from you at home, where you may be watching from, who you're rooting for here today, or if you have any questions for us here on the air. We'll try to answer them. 1-2, runner moving, good pitch to throw on. Ooh, the throw was in time. Maybe the tag wasn't there from De La Cruz. So another successful stolen base by USPBL players, and fellow middle infielders have a little bit of a laugh there. De La Cruz, Castellano, and Navarro all coming together there at second base. Two and two on McGee. A lot of room for him in right center if he wants to go that direction. Another slider, tough for Averett to block, and Navarro has moved himself from first to third with some solid base running here. Second inning brought to you by Budweiser here today. We thank Budweiser for their sponsorship of the USPBL. Full count on McGee. Navarro and Horner have reached in this inning with a walk in a fielder's choice. On the ground to Castellano. Ooh, took a tough zipping hop on him, able to handle it with no issue in the end. And Velez with another fairly easy inning here in the second. Nothing becomes of the one-out walk and fielder's choice later by Navarro. We're still scoreless.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2 LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Check your checking. If your account doesn't get you pumped, amped, or geeked, make the switch to Genius Checking from Genesis Credit Union. It's just genius.
Jeremy and Jenna back with you here from Jimmy John's Field in downtown Utica, Michigan. Jackson Hicks out for his second inning of work. Both him and Velez have been looking fairly sharp early on. Hicks striking out the side in the first despite the two-out single by Castellano, which wasn't hit very hard, but got the job done. He'll face Kreitzer, Aponte, and Averett, brought to you by Zach Hart Agency here in the bottom of the second inning.
Interested to see adjustments from Kreitzer and Aponte as we roll to this part of the lineup. They both have been struggling a bit this season. Kreitzer with 14 strikeouts and Aponte with 15. So making sure they're able to adjust in the ball, keep their barrel through the zone, and keeping it a long swing will be key.
Kreitzer, the designated hitter here today. Looks at a ball up high. 4 RBIs in this left-handed bat. Certainly think there's a lot more in him. Swing and a miss. 1-1 on Kreitzer.
There definitely is, and you can tell he has that power just looking at his stature and the type of swing he has.
Pretty simple mechanics in terms of what he does pre-pitch. Is that one punched into right? Base hit to begin things in the second.
That just goes to show putting the ball in play can be all that you can do, right? Nice effort by Navarro, but a bit out too far to his left.
And something like that can get you on a roll here in this game. And when you are on a roll, balls like that will find a hole more than often. Aponte hitting a .146 coming into play today. Has played a solid center field all year long. 92-mile-an-hour fastball by him that time. Trying to bunt. Wow, sneaking in a drag one to McGee here. He responds well. I think if that one is hit just a little bit less sharp, he probably finds his way on base.
That was nice thinking by Aponte. Looking at his history previously, he does struggle with a higher velocity in the fastball, so getting the bunt down, I mean, it moves the runner.
So now Felix Aberrett will have a chance with a runner in scoring position. Austin Shoemaker, the lone man available on the bench here today. That's not a permanent move, kind of a loan for Shoemaker to the Hoppers here today. Played the doubleheader yesterday, but with the Beavers team, which he will likely stay for the near future. But Gunnar Rainey has since moved on to the Frontier League. That will allow Tyler Blom to see some more catching time. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Aberrett can't quite catch up with that one. But from what we hear, some whispers going on that we should see a number of new players coming next week, maybe 3, possibly more by week's end. And this is kind of the period where we thought we may find some more available arms and position players because of the draft coming a bit later than normal. And with the draft being less rounds, there's certainly some guys floating out there that otherwise wouldn't be available to independent teams. But as the discussion I had with Willie Martin on the air last night, independent ball becoming more and more important. Because ultimately, the affiliated baseball teams still want to see this talent and they want to see them develop. But because everything was taken over by the big clubs in terms of how the minor leagues were run and all that goes into that, obviously chopped a lot of affiliate teams this year. 1-2, swing and a miss. Strikeout number 4 for Jackson Hicks already here in the second.
Well, that's an interesting point to bring up, too, because especially in the USPBL, you're facing the same guys every single time. So to bring in some new faces, that's a challenge for everyone.
And now these MLB partner leagues are floating around there, some making some, quote, of unaffiliated teams affiliated. Still unclear what that exactly means, but the Pioneer League, which used to be an affiliate rookie ball league, as Kreitzer moves to third, is now independent but affiliated, quote-unquote, or partners, as Google says, with Major League Baseball. American Association, Frontier League, and the Atlantic League, always considered to be some of the upper tier in the independents, have also signed on. And you've even seen a few independent teams in the past kind of elevate all the way to affiliated ball. That's a swing and a miss by Will Krushina. That was the case with the St. Paul Saints. They're now the AAA affiliate of the Twins out of nowhere. 1-2 on Krushina here. Sac fly and a strikeout, or sac bunt, I should say. And a strikeout have signaled the first 2 outs, and there's number 3. Boy, Jackson Hicks is on some kind of roll. Already has 5 strikeouts through 2.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
Time for your Freaky Fast Facts, brought to you by Jimmy John's here today. 3 songs from The Beauty and the Beast earned Best Original Song Oscar nominations. So there you go, here on Beauty and the Beast Day, presented by Fairy Tale Entertainment. Relying on the scoreboard here today for these. So here comes number 2. The Beast is a mashup of different animals. He has the head structure and horns of a buffalo, the arms, claws, and body of a bear, the eyebrows of a gorilla, the jaws and mane of a lion, the tusk of a wild boar, and legs, teeth, and tail of a wolf. Really? I had no idea about that one, huh? Have you heard that before?
No, I haven't. There's a lot that goes into that.
Goodness. And then your third one coming up in just a second here. Mrs. Potts was originally named, this is chamomile. So there you go. There's your Freaky Fast Facts presented by Jimmy John's here today. You big Beauty and the Beast person?
Well, you know, I'm more of a Little Mermaid, and would you like to hear why?
Sure.
All right, little family. So I'm related to Alyssa Milano.
Really?
She's the actress, yes, and they actually based Ariel off of her.
Okay.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
So what's, like, fourth cousins?
Goodness,
or
I think third.
Okay.
I was going to play it off cool and just keep it at the related and hope everyone thought it was close, but, you know.
Have you ever had any contact or?
I think so with her mother.
Okay.
A little confusing, but.
First pitch to Jalen Smith, swing and a miss. It's kind of interesting to see all the Disney films go into the live action that we've had lately. They're kind of rolling out all those. I think Cruella is probably the most recent one, going off the 101 Dalmatians. I guess the second live action of that one. De La Cruz, high hop over to first. And Velez gets the first out in every inning so far in his 3 innings of work.
Man, that always astonishes me, especially that play at short, because you're getting the read, you're charging in on it, but he had like the understanding to know that he could stick his glove up just in time to get it on the hop.
Mm-hmm. It's part of knowing the field, right? And you know, you can only know the field so much, and there's been a lot of work, I'm sure, on this field in the last couple days. It was drenched by that all-day rain, which rained out our Friday game. But for the most part, every field has its tendencies. Every infield is going to play, you know, different, whether that's faster or one that you're going to have to charge a bit more in between. Adrian Guzman hitting at the bottom of the Mammoths lineup here today. Has kind of been at the bottom and at the top so far this season. But overall, has been doing a solid job out there offensively and defensively. 1-1, ooh. Hooked the slider away, and that's been working really well for him here today. On the flip side for Jackson Hicks, he's been a heavy fastball. We haven't, I don't think, seen the breaking ball all too much either today, but his splitter has been the only 2 hits that he's given up thus far. 1-2, pins that one on the outside for strike 3. Third strikeout for Velez. Jackson Hicks already has a 5 spot with 3 in the first and 2 in the second. And now Logan Herring with the last shot in the third. He was a strikeout victim all the way back in the first inning. They're certainly looking forward to see what this bat can do in the future. I was talking to Taylor Jellikowski, his co-manager, before the game a couple days ago, and he just says he's getting better and better every game. A guy that really thought his baseball career was over. Took 30 days off in terms of not really picking up a bat after the NAI World Series concluded, with his team being in the hunt for that nearly all the way. 20 bombs in the NAI this year. Really trying to work himself back into game shape, and they think he's looking better and better every BP session and every game he's played in so far. Slider dips low. And he could be a fun guy to watch in terms of the power going forward. And if that's the case, with Caruso, Briggs, Bauer, Warner even having some pop as well, this lineup could be pretty dangerous. Now there's slider in for strike 2, Herring. Not a big fan of the call. Linda Ashman chimes in on YouTube, says hello from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, cheering on the Mammoths here today. Two low. Brian asked a question on Facebook. How much do the players get paid? Do they have part-time jobs? Some of them do work part-time jobs, and we're seeing it more and more. Actually, players kind of working in the food and beverage department. You see Nick Kreitzer out there quite a bit. Miguel Sereno almost out there every day as well. Kind of in their off days. 3-2, swing and a miss. So if you see one of those guys serving you a beverage or some popcorn, it probably is them. As you take a double take.
Saw Elijah Salaya walking in today to the park.
Yep. Cool stuff. So look out for those guys going forward. That's your Fifth Third out of the game, brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. Now time for JJ the Water Boy, presented by Michigan First Credit Union here today. Deliver some water out to Gary Wagenschutz behind the second base bag. JJ had quite the busy day yesterday. Those Beavers uniforms being one of a kind with JJ in the front of them and his paw prints all over them. You can still bid on those jerseys by visiting uspbl.com. Get more information there. Goes for a nice cause. Here's your DTE Energy Kid Race the mascot. Wow, this is quite the performance by Ribby as he tries to hold on to his belt buckle here. Penelope cruising from behind. She missed third base. Trying to skip past Ribby. Ribby tailing from behind. Trying to reach out, but Penelope is snagging her way to a victory here in your DTE Energy Kid Race the mascot here today. Quite the spirited effort by Ribby, one of the best we've seen from a mascot this year, I think.
I know. He had some speed when he was going around the bases. I'm not used to that. Jason and I actually went to the Detroit Sports Media Association golf outing where they had the mascot chipping competition. So all the USPBL Mammoths, all the USPBL mascots were there. So it was pretty interesting. They all got to work on their short game, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
But
Who was the best mascot there?
I'm pretty sure the best one was Wooly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but they had to use tennis balls and plastic clubs. It wasn't like a real golf club and a ball. If it was, it definitely would have been blue. Lawrence Tech's mascot, because he was the victor in 2019.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah, but
was Cruiser there from Madonna? I know he's been in the past.
No, he wasn't. Rory was there. Paz was there. Yeah, Sparty. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that was it. I was surprised Oakland's mascot wasn't there this year, but
that would be Grizz, right? Is it?
Grizz. Yeah, but who needs Madonna anyways?
This is what happens when you have Lawrence Tech people take over the broadcast. We got a Michigan Wolverine to our left, too. On the ground, through, past the diving glove of McGee. And, boy, anytime you can get a base runner against Hicks, how he's working here today, you got to smile a bit.
Yeah, nice diving effort by McGee, but you could see there, got a little tripped up at first base.
So De Los Santos, the bottom of the order, turns it back to the top. And Ben McConnell, 1 through 4, all came to the plate in the first. Not much success, just a single by Castellano. The rest strikeouts. Trying to sneak in a bunt again. Hicks athletically off the mound, spikes it. Going to allow De Los Santos to at least go to third. Herring sliding to make sure he keeps that out in front. Chris De Los Santos bluffing a bit, but he will stay at third. So not the best start for Hicks here in the third.
Yeah, it's always important in those scenarios with a runner on base that you make an accurate throw, and even that means taking your time. But you could see they're a little off balance getting the ball in transition.
So it looks like they have ruled that a straight single on the board here with no error. I would think at least a single and an error if you're going to award the single. On the ground, Guzman, with the runner moving, cannot get potentially 2 outs, and scattering his way home is Christian De Los Santos, which you talked about earlier. Get base runners on and things happen. Exactly what happened there. Maybe not the orthodox way you'd like to do it here today, but whatever way counts in a tight game.
Definitely a nice jump to beat out what would have been a double play.
Yeah, McConnell broke right away. De La Cruz does his job and then some. Drives in the run and advances the runner to second base as well. So 1 down for Pedro Castellano. 1-0 outside at 92. The 2-0. Fastball high. 3-0 on Jackson Hicks. A little bit of action in the Mammoths pen, but that's kind of to be expected. That was the plan going into this game. Not able to get Donovan Thacker any work. He's likely going 3 here today if everything works out. Plan was Hicks for 3, Thacker for 3, and possibly Kyle Luger for 1. McConnell able to swipe a bag. Castellano way ahead in the count here. 3-1. Looks for the lift there. Three and 2. Swing and a miss. Hicks gets a big-time second out and another strikeout to his credit. Number 6 on the afternoon.
Sounds like it just tipped off his bat. Did I make that up from up here?
Could be. Yeah, no, it could have subtly tipped there. Jackson coming into this game, really good number of strikeouts. He delivers one outside. .37 Ks to 14 walks. So that amounts to a 11 K per 9 for Hicks, which is really good. The walks per 9 at 4. So ideally he'd like to get that 3 to 2.5. That's being a little nitpicky for a guy that went straight from club baseball in college for 4 years to professional. Here's the 2-1 coming off a slider. Dips the fastball back in at 91. Not a lot of success so far here today with the splitter for Jackson Hicks. Usually throws that around 27% of the time. That last fastball had a ton of movement on it, though. Just looking at the spin on it, and I kind of looked at it, I'm like, is that a slider? But it was in there at 91. A lot of late movement to the hands of Greg Vaughn Jr., who's fallen off a couple. Would love to plate that padding run at third base, given how this game has been. No hits on the other end for the Mammoths quite yet. 2-2. Ooh, Hicks wanted it. Three and two on Greg Vaughn Jr. Strikeout looking back in the first inning. Outfield pretty far deep on this guy who can hit line drives at a far clip. Infield the same way with 2 outs and 2 strikes. There they all are, backing up after that ball was whistled out of play. And just a slight breeze, as you saw there. It's been pretty subtle the past couple weeks here at Jimmy John's Field. Usually there's at least 2 or 3 days where it's blowing at a clip that matters. Hicks again, not a big fan of that call. He's hopped around in the mound a couple times, and that'll put runners on first and third.
You know, dialing back to the All-Star game, it was really interesting because we saw Greg Vaughn Jr. with the 27 home runs during the Derby, but we see that stature and we really want to see that power translate over into gameplay. Only 1 home run so far this season. I know it's not all about the home runs, but just having that solid contact consistently would be really nice to see from Vaughn Jr.
And certainly if that translates to gameplay, you have to think that's going to raise some eyeballs as well on the next level as Kreitzer takes a swing and a miss. Jason Aponte is your Zach Hart agency man on deck here in the third. And Hicks will bluff over to first. A lot of action in terms of pickoffs yesterday. Some helping, some hurting. We saw that late in the game. I think it was game 1 yesterday where that pickoff skipped. Also one of those international run players, John Hodo, was thrown out trying to steal right off the bat in extras last night. 1-1, runner moving to second here. Horner doesn't slide, and more often than not, umpire is going to give the benefit of the doubt to the infielder if it's close, and that is the case for the third out here in the third inning. Kreitzer will get another shot in the fourth when we get back.
Only at your Chevrolet certified service dealer do you get tires engineered specifically for your vehicle and a price match guarantee.
With our tire price match guarantee, if you find a better price within 30 days of purchase, we'll refund the difference. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Make your move with a quick and easy mortgage from Genesis Credit Union. We have mortgages to fit your life. Genesis Credit Union. Visit us today.
Velez has only given up a walk in this game, wink, wink. A few strikeouts mixed into that as well. 2 in the third, 2 in the first. Also had a fielder's choice reach in the second, but he's looked really sharp here today.
You know, I was going to say to knock on our little counter here, but I think this is this
Fake.
even wood?
Is
Fake
this,
wood?
You know,
Well,
It might be wood. It's got a weird little cover on it. Here's a wood clipboard over here, but that might even be fake. Anyway, you know what we're talking about. For Velez, he'll face 2-3-4 in the fourth. It's Caruso, Briggs, Bauer, brought to you by Zach Hart Agency. 1-2-3 inning in the first and third, just the single walk-in fielder's choice in the second. Ground out, strikeout, strikeout was how they went down in the third inning. The slider probably playing the best. I mean, the fastball is running up there where it normally does at 92 on average, but the slider has been the difference maker for his strikeouts so far tonight.
And it's nice to see that offensively the Diamond Hoppers have been able to back up Velez when they step onto the plate.
Nubbed by Caruso. There's a first pitch slider. And we've seen some break more drastically. We've seen some flip just in to try to get that strike call. But has been sharp all the way around with it. 92-mile-an-hour fastball high. Jackson Hicks is winning in the K department, but Velez a bit more in the pitch count. Hicks had a belabored third inning where he gave up the first run. Hot shot right back at him. Tough play for De Los Santos. Picks it up, fires to first, and keeps the game intact for Velez. De La Cruz, I beg your pardon. De Los Santos over at third. And now Lamar Briggs will have a chance here. Not sure what that conversation between Velez and the home plate umpire was about there. Popped him up, can of corn. Velez trying to locate it. He calls for it. Krushina coming in. And it all ends in smiles, but that's because it's an out. Oh, boy, you'd hate to see that land in as the first hit in this one if you're Velez.
Well, it's a general rule of thumb. You do not want your pitcher getting those pop flies, but, I mean, you're right. Smiles as long as there's an out.
And we've seen that more often than not, it seems. Pitchers want to go for it. We've even seen a couple guys sprint for balls in foul territory down the first baseline. And in general, this league fielded pretty well. We've seen A.J. Coleman come off the mound in a number of situations. First pitch slider again to Trent Bauer is off the plate outside. Bauer, the designated hitter here today. 1-0 grooved in for strike one there. Bauer, pretty good doubleheader the other day. Home run, single, double. Another slider. Boy, you see the knees bend of Trent Bauer there. That's how it's been working here today for Velez. Maybe that's the curveball there, but either way, some good break. It's hard to differentiate the velocity because it's nearly identical. That one at 78, so a bit slower. Slider been more 80, 82. Looks like we have some Trent Bauer fans right below us here, both with their cell phones up. Wonder if that's mom and dad down there. Just 2 rows up from home plate directly behind Trent Bauer here. 1-2, again slapped foul.
Yeah, we can see there's a lot of excessive hand movement as he's getting ready and his timing, and it seems like if he can't bring the barrel up vertically in time, we saw he was a little late there and he was sending it, to the opposite field foul.
few foul balls in this at bat here in the fourth. 2 up and 2 down for Velez. Gonna finish off what could be his third 1-2-3 bid. You bet, right there. K's him on the inside corner. Trent Bauer flustered that time, but Velez, no hits through 4 here on the USPBL network.
New flooring from the Carpet Guys is as easy as 1, 2, free. 1, just call the Carpet Guys for fast, free, and home shopping. 2, get massive warehouse direct savings. And 3, I mean free, as in 4 years of interest-free financing. That's 1, 2, free, but only for a limited time. So be wise and call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS or visit carpetguys.com today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS.
Times are tough right now. It feels like the bottom of the ninth and we're down by 2. But we've seen tough times before. And just like baseball has always been more than just a game, Chief Financial Credit Union is more than money. So it might be the bottom of the ninth, but we're the home team, and we've got runners on base. Batter up, America. It's time to play ball.
Jackson Hicks back out there for the 4th inning of work. He will face Kreitzer, Aponte, and Aberrett. Kreitzer is back out there after Greg Vaughn Jr. was thwarted down in a steal attempt by Colton Horner. And it'll be interesting to see if we see maybe a few more catchers gun down runners, because these runners have been stealing at such a high rate to start the season. Donovan Thacker taking over as expected here in the 4th inning. They were hoping to get Hicks for 3 innings, Thacker for 3, and possibly Luger for 1 in the 7-inning contest here today. So really good fastball for Jackson Hicks today. Got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strikeouts by game's end. Splitter maybe not working as much as he would like. Able to get by, and maybe not a bad time for Thacker to come in and change a few things in terms of the arsenal.
Yeah, Thacker is primarily operating on his 4-seamer and his slider, can sprinkle in his changeup every now and again. Definitely good of a bit of a good switch moving forward.
The 6'3", 190-pound right-hander out of Livonia. 27 2/3 innings pitched. 11 walks to 15 strikeouts. Was right in the equation at the beginning of the year to be the opening day starter for Taylor Jellikowski and John Dombrowski, for a pitching staff that's turned out to be a pretty dangerous one. Right up there with some of the best in the league. Greg Lokinen has made his mark. Jordan Rogers, a newcomer. Bridenthal pitched the other day. Colin Ledbetter saw some good velocity out of the bullpen the other night as well. The Mammoths trying to not be that team they've been the last couple of years in terms of starting slow and then kicking it together as the season goes on. Oftentimes they have been the 4 seed into the USPBL playoffs, have been majority 2 to begin this year so far. Beavers getting a big win last night. Doubleheader split versus the top team record-wise in the Utica Unicorns. Flipped foul there. So 87 miles an hour on the average fastball for Thacker. Has been up to 91 this year. Gets good spin on that 4-seam. There it is again. 2-2 on Kreitzer. Had a single
back in the second inning. And through the first two, it was, here it is, try to hit it for Jackson Hicks. 5 strikeouts through 2 innings. There's another one for this Mammoth staff. Donovan Thacker, another guy. We talked about Velez earlier on his ground ball percentage. He's right around the same, 41%. That's significant. Consider a guy a ground ball pitcher at that rate. Jason Aponte had a productive at-bat in the second. Sacrifice to move up Kreitzer, who ended up at third in the end. We've seen 2 guys on both teams try to kind of drag and sneak a bunt down the third base line so far here today. And most of the time that will not come from the third base coach, which most of the time is the manager. 0-2 quickly here on Aponte. The pitch low and in. 1-2 on Jason here. Strikeout to Kreitzer back in the fourth. 1-2 on the ground to Navarro. Charging in, feeds to first. 2 up and 2 down here in the fourth.
Thacker's off to a good start, stepping onto the mound.
And this is kind of an important bridge inning here as well. Number 1, you're down, and you've been no hit through 4 innings on the other side, but we talk about it, but you get into the 5th and especially the 6th, those are the late innings of a 7-inning contest. First pitch to Aberrett, outside, the breaking ball.
It's so weird to remember that it is only going to 7 innings today.
Every day treated a bit differently in terms of the amount of workload. And that's probably going to be more important the next 4 weeks. We talked about it Wednesday through Sunday, which means the pitching is being used more often. And let's face it, you're still carrying much less on a pitching staff here in the U.S. PBL compared to Major League Baseball, where that's at right now. 1-1 is away. But even with that said, Wednesday through Friday, generally, as long as it fits into the 2.5-hour time limit, are 9-inning contest. Saturdays, that on scheduled doubleheader days, are 6 innings each. And most here in this stretch of games is going to be a scheduled doubleheader until we start getting very late in the season in September. And Sundays are 7 innings. They've kind of adjusted that as we've gone along. Started as all 7 innings. That was kicked off last year just due to rosters really being tough to fill out with COVID-19. Thacker trying to get him 1-2-3, strikeout and ground out thus far here in the fourth. The pitch. Clubbed and in to left field. The 5th base hit here tonight for Hoppers hitters.
JJ working hard out there. Looks like a heavy one.
Take a look out at Thacker. Maybe thought he was going to get a pet from Thacker or something there. I don't know.
Yeah, I bet he's missing Chelsea today.
So 2 out still. Krushina struck out and is only at bat back in the second. Look at this little tyke down here. He's got a Gatorade. He proudly presents to his brother. His dad's got a bunch of concessions, can't really see what it is. He's got his Mickey Mouse hat on here on an appropriate day, I guess.
Oh, I have my Mickey Mouse Band-Aid on.
There you go.
Very mature of me this morning.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Willie could have used one of those yesterday. 1-1 up the middle. Guzman ranging over, boy. So smooth and stylish for the third out here in the fourth, making it look easy. Nothing becomes of the 2-out single in the fourth. Still 1-0 Hoppers. We'll see if Velez continues what he's done.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. fsbcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities. Where good neighbors do great things. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Velez has yet to give up a hit here today. A walk in the second, a fielder's choice in that inning as well. 1-2-3 inning in the fourth, in the first, and in the third. In the fourth, he had a ground out, a pop out, and a strikeout looking. Tough at bat for Trent Bauer. He fouled off some tough pitches to Velez, but in the end, he was able to crowd him inside and get him for strike three in the end. So back out there, tossing to Felix Abaret, the only available catcher here today for these Eastside Diamond Hoppers. Besides Austin Shoemaker, who is giving them a little spot bench appearance, given the situation. And the other catcher, Colton Horner, will come to the plate. He is the only man to reach today besides Navarro. That was on his walk back in the second. Horner, Navarro, McGee. Your Zach Hart agency, 3 men due up in the fifth. Chop to third. De Los Santos quickly over to first. One up and one down in the fifth. That's now 8 straight retired by Velez. And there it is. A lot of goose eggs on the west side of things so far here today. This man and Adrian Guzman combined in a nice nifty play to end the bottom of inning number 4 after Abaret reached against Donovan Thacker. And 2 swings and a misses quickly by Navarro, both on the biting slider. Velez gets the ball and is set, ready to go, rolling in this one. Kind of talked about that in the pregame show a little bit. Started a pretty slow pace in his first outing, but Justin Orenduff and Shane McCaddy all about pacing and having your routine. And they say if you work slow, that's kind of a sign that you don't have a routine that is repeatable between every delivery. So some who are not exactly maybe familiar with baseball or around baseball all the time, it's like, you know, are these guys that superstitious that they have to have the same hat tug, that they have to, you know, raise their arms in the same way? But in a way, it's not just about that. It's just about, you know, being comfortable, being repeatable, and that is going to lead to more good things than a guy who is slower or varies himself what he does in between pitches. 1-2, wow. That slider unhittable here today.
With what you were saying before, Jeremy, when it comes to having your routine, just having that ability to reset in a game that is so mental, that's extremely important. So it's good that he's been able to get the work in and developing that routine. And obviously there are a lot of aspects of his game that are paying off right now for Velez.
First pitch fastball in at 92. And as soon as Velez got here, we had a feeling that he might be a guy to watch in terms of the starting pitchers. Was in the second wave of players that came in. There's the first hit. With 2 outs in the 5th inning, Velez took it as long as he could, and that might make it pretty easy for Paul Noce to get somebody warming and in. Kind of thinking about that in between innings. It's a tough situation. You know, you want Velez to get that no-hitter if it does happen, but you got to wonder whether he would have been allowed to finish it because all these guys have not thrown at all this week. Some of them, the last time they threw was in the All-Star game. We're talking Carson Ferry, Banks, Cook, Pierce, Verbrugge, Dewhurst. No one has had a start besides Velez either so far. Everybody believed to be available. So wouldn't be surprised to see Velez finish this 5th inning and maybe get somebody else out there for Paul Noce just to get their work in. Now the 1-1. Sparked in for strike 2. Fastball at 92. Adrian Guzman, your Zach Hart agency man on deck here in the 5th. Everybody back for the most part with 2 strikes. There's McGee ranging off a first tight lead. Slider that Aberrett can't handle. McGee going to take the turn around second. Making sure that Aberrett gets to it quick enough so he doesn't advance to third.
We've seen some heads-up base running today, especially in McConnell, able to get second and third earlier in the game.
We thought that could prove to be a run in that third. They did score their only run. At the Hoppers, it was Chris De Los Santos who scratched home plate. The 2-2. Another wipeout slider. Aberrett's in front of that one this time. He'll complete it over to first base. And if that is it for Velez, he was extremely sharp here today. His best starts in a USPBL uniform, only giving up a walk, a fielder's choice, and a single in this one. Time for your Genesis Credit Union 5th inning stretch here today in this 7-inning game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. There's your Genesis Credit Union 5th inning stretch here today. Back with more after this on the USPBL Network.
There's nothing better than a ball game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
Donovan Thacker on for his second of what we believe will be 3 innings of work here today. Looked good in the fourth. A few deep counts, a 2-2 count to Kreitzer before he struck him out, and a 3-2 count to Aberrett before he singled. Good defensive play by Guzman, cutting a ball off up the middle and feeding it to Navarro at second base. Here he will face 9-1-2, brought to you by Zach Hart Agency. It's De Los Santos, McConnell, and De La Cruz. De Los Santos with a single back in the third inning. Good to see from him, and struggling a bit at the plate. 159 coming into play here today. Fastball at 86. So it's a bit of a change of pace with these two fastballs here today. Hicksmore 91-92. Thacker will be around 86 to 88 on a consistent basis. That one at 87 for strike 2. Now the 1-2. Off speed on the ground to Guzman. Another nice play to make it 1 up and 1 down here in the fifth. Ben McConnell looking to reach for the second time here today. This is one of those games where you'd feel a lot better if you're able to pop another run on the board here if you're the Hoppers. They do have a pitcher throwing at mound length now. It looks like that is Pierce. So Pierce, one of the available arms here today. Single and an error and a stolen base for McConnell in his appearance on the base pass in the third. Struck out in the first. That was on a 3-2 pitch to Jackson Hicks. One shutters off the glove of Colton Horner. You're just tuning in. Reset the defense. It's Caruso, Briggs, and Smith in the outfield. Herring and McGee on the corners. Navarro and Guzman up the middle with Horner completing the arsenal here today. 2-2. Few change-ups in a row to this at-bat for Thacker. There is some light tossing going on in the Mammoths pen. Looks like Kyle Luger down there.
Those binoculars are pretty nifty there, Jeremy.
Yes, they help. But I tell you what, that right field bullpen, for whatever reason, I guess the drink rail kind of extends further down, and more often, more people are down there than in left field. Those umbrellas can wreak havoc, especially at night. The lights kind of shine off them as well. These are my nifty football ones that I use, though. They're the wide angle, kind of allow you to see the play, even when looking through your binoculars. 2-2 on Ben McConnell. 1 up and 1 down. De Los Santos gunned down by Guzman to begin this inning. Fastball, one of his better ones of the day at 89, dusted low. Both the second baseman Navarro and Guzman in their respective holes, leaving some room up the middle here for Ben if he wants to go that way. Sprays it to left. Caruso right in his tracks for the second out.
Comfortable play. Didn't have to move around too much over there in left.
Not a lot of action to the outfield in the air so far here today.
That was one of my favorite things about being an outfielder is just see ball, catch ball, throw ball. Some strategies involved, of course, communicating every time you get back in the dugout, making sure everyone's on the same page with pitches and batters stepping up, but
here's another one. Pop to right. Smith coming in. Navarro going back. Makes that nice over-the-shoulder catch for his third out here in the 5th inning. Well, when it's time for baseball, it's time for a Bell's. We love enjoying a United Shore professional baseball game with an Oberon, Two-Hearted Ale, or official No Yeah. Here's to a great season. Bell's Brewery, Comstock, Michigan. Please drink responsibly. 1-0 Hoppers, a slim lead in this one.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well-earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Pierce taking over on the mound for the Eastside Diamond Hoppers here. Velez, as we kind of pondered, I mean, by no means is this he's coming out of the game because of his performance here today. It's just that these pitchers need work, and he made the decision probably a little bit easier for Paul Noce after he gave up his first hit with 2 outs in the 5th. But by far, probably the best outing this year for Velez. He looked outstanding. Hayden Pierce trying to take the baton here. 12 2/3 innings coming into play here today. All of his appearances out of the bullpen. Strong walk to strikeout ratio at 4 walks to 12 Ks. Enthused to see what he can do here today.
yeah, Pierce definitely has plenty to play with in his arsenal. We can see him utilize his 4-seam, curve, 2-seam, slider, and changeup. So he's definitely bringing in some tough competition here for this Mammoths lineup.
Shortstop, number 13, Adrian Guzman.
Guzman, Herring, Caruso, your Zach Hart agency 3-men due up here in the 6th inning. Guzman with a strikeout in the 3rd. Same result for Herring. Caruso had a ground ball in the 4th, the last few at-bats, but none of the lines are going to look too good up to this point against Velez. Just a single, a walk, and a fielder's choice allowed by him. 0-1 from Pierce, busting him inside at 90 miles an hour. That's consistently been a strike, both the inside and the outside, maybe expanding a bit further than these batters would like. 0-2 away. It's the second car alarm that's going off in the middle of this game. I don't know if you can hear it on the USPBL network or not, but stopped now. The other one went for a bit longer. Here's the 1-2 on Goose outside. Fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. This changeup move used very sparingly so far for Hayden Pierce this year. heavy fastball, 43% on the four-seam, 18% on the two-seam to this point. Here's the even pitch now. Pipe the fastball high. Maybe a little flustered there. He couldn't command it a bit better. But if you're these Mammoths batters, you're probably happy to see a new face in there. Good batter and different, the way the pitcher is. That's how it works on nights like that where guys are just locked in. That slider working for Velez today. Aponte to right center. Some miscommunication. It's going to drop in. I think Aponte thought that maybe McConnell would swipe that play at the last minute, and maybe that was the thought of Aponte and McConnell at the same time. And in the end, it drops in. And some decent speed on the base pass now with the top of the order filtering back up.
Yeah, that's always tough, but looking where Aponte is, you know, he would have had to make that diving grab, and looking over at right field, it could have been more of like a standing up play, so definitely tough with the miscommunication. Can't really let those drop.
The sunglasses more of a factor here today. It was a bit of a tough sky all of last night for really both games until the sun really went away in the later innings of the second game of the doubleheader, but we saw a number of balls miss that probably would have been caught by some of your stronger defenders in the league. And really in game two, Connor Bagneski's triple made the difference, and that's a ball that Colby Johnson probably catches 7 out of 10 times. It goes against the warning track. Instead, it cleared the bases for the Beavers and kind of an improbable inning as they couldn't do anything against Miguel Sereno and company before that. Unicorns had a 10-batter inning on Malik Barrington as well early on. He later settled on for 6 straight outs. Hits it where they exactly are, and Aponte playing well over to the left of the second base bag, and now back-to-back singles to begin the 6th inning here in a 7-inning game here today.
Nice way to kick off the 6th for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. They've been needing that offensive spark, given that heading into this inning they only had 1 hit so far in the game.
Nick Caruso. And then Lamar Briggs. Here's Zach Hart agency, 3 men, 2 up here in the 6th. On the ground to Cassiano, feeds to second in time. Over to first, bingo for the first 2 outs here in the 6th inning as Guzman advances to third.
A situation like this where you're only up by 1, that was very key defensively for the Hoppers.
You can win $250 plus 4 front row tickets to the USPBL Championship game in September. Text Chevy Detroit right now to 555-888. Again, that's Chevy Detroit to 555-888. Visit ChevyDetroit.com/USPBL for all the official rules of that contest. Here's Lamar Briggs with 2 outs. Breaking ball down low. Curveball used quite a bit more than the slider coming into play here today for Hayden Pierce. 25% of the time on the curve, 13% on the slider. That was the curve on the last pitch there. Talked about the high leg kick for Malik Barrington last night, something he's kind of worked on as the season has gone on. Decent leg kick as well for Hayden Pierce. Gets that power and timing behind it. Green.
Briggs is someone to the plate. Situation on, get a tie. Hit those lives tower.
Pit and a big batter. Briggs, their Mammoths line on two. Come up inside. What a big double play. The 1.
Dunham Sports is a proud partner of the USPBL. Big names, low prices, delivering value since 1937.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a fifth third better, which means we put 166.7% into everything we do.
I think you can only give 110%.
Well, with free checking, fraud protection services, and an automatic savings tool to help you quickly reach your goals, 166.7% is possible.
Oh, wait till my 8th graders hear about this. They're going to be like, it's not possible. Well, yes it is.
This is banking, a fifth third better.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. Our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are Operating Engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
Another pitching change here for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. It's Kyle Luger taking over on the mound for the 6th inning. Good stuff from Thacker through his 2 innings of work in relief today. He'll face an important spot in the order. Pedro Castellano, Craig Vaughn Jr., and Nick Kreitzer.
Seems as though Luger really only operates on 2 pitches, utilizing his 2-seamer and his curve.
Had a bit of arm trouble, really both this year and last year, that has kept him off the mound consistently. But they're really hoping to see a good outing here today and a good recovery that'll allow him to bounce back and pitch at some point early next week. Here's the 1-0. 90 at the plate. That's fouled off. Castellano with a single in the first and a strikeout in the 3rd inning as well. Just Luger's 2nd game in a Mammoths uniform this year. Had a good outing in his 1 inning of work back on June 26th. Didn't walk a batter, struck out 2 to a 1-2-3 inning in the end. And that's off the noggin of Castellanos, so leadoff base runner for the Hoppers as they try to add to this 1-0 lead. And a decent candidate at the plate to try to expand that lead as well. Well, we've mentioned throughout the broadcast on this week some of the promotions you will see next week. It's a Wednesday through Sunday. Oldies night on Wednesday.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2 LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. Our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are Operating Engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
Remember recently that there was an issue with that.
Two outs here in the 7th inning. 0-1 is fouled off. 0-2 on Spencer McGee. We apologize at home. I know we've been having some technical difficulties. Just went on over the stadium. Unfortunately, nobody wants to hear our voices out over those speakers. 0-2 is, again, shifted foul.
Going back on that
Yes.
on that home run, though, I think the only time I can remember recently, the Cody Bellinger, Justin Turner issue in Colorado earlier this year, but that was an issue with a runner passing another runner at first base. It wasn't an issue with touching a base.
So I think people are starting to hear us at home here as this one's popped up to the short right field. Castellano can't get it, neither can McConnell. That's going to allow McGee to go to second base as he slides in there. All right, so people at home want to recap. So a line out to center to begin this inning by Trent Bauer. The single by Corton Horner. He came around to score. Trevor McKinley hit it out of the ballpark to right field. That was clear. There's no discussion about that. Both Adrian Cook and Felix Aberrett challenged whether he touched home plate. Your home plate umpire was looking directly at home plate as we took a second look at it on our YouTube monitor. McKinley did kind of skirt across the bag in a weird way, if you want to say it that. I mean, it wasn't maybe exactly clear that he touched it, but at the same time, it looked like he kind of, at least got a piece of home plate. I'm just really surprised they come back to make that call. First pitch to Jalen Smith is outside. So Horner's run counts. Trevor McKinley, the pinch hitter's run does not count, even though he technically had a 2-run homer. And if anybody knows how to score that at home, please let me know, because I've never experienced it. And we want to know if he gets a home run or not. And Matt Snyder is maybe pondering that it could be a triple and an RBI. Huh. Because I guess, yeah, I mean, he's like a runner trying to stretch a single into a double, and then he gets thrown out. You still get a single, or you try to stretch a double into a triple. So in that case, you're stretching, quote-unquote, a triple into a home run, but it's out of the park. That's just that's the weird equation into it. And for those of you who didn't hear, Jake from the analytics department has joined us here. Jenna Rose on the field, potentially to interview our Rochester University player of the game. But for those of you that did miss it, Jake called, I don't know if he called the home run, but he called that it was a good job by the managing staff, the co-managers of the Mammoths, to bring in Trevor McKinley in that situation off the bench. He's the only bench player available to the men in blue here today. 91-mile-an-hour fastball sparks outside. 2-2 on Jalen Smith.
You do have a base open here. I wouldn't mind seeing a couple more sliders, maybe even. You face Guzman here in the 9-hole, which I'm not sure you want to face either, but it's not a bad idea to go with breaking ball here.
Especially with the power that Smith has. I think you'll take the chance with Guzman. He did hit his first home run the other day, and we've seen him hit a couple balls to the warning track lately, but 3-2 on Smith.
Another situation where you could go slider here, but you can also challenge with the fastball. Both options with that base open are present.
Smith, the starting right fielder for the Mammoths today. The 3-2. Ouch. Very close for a Cook here. So frustrations on both sides here in the top of the 7th inning. And now runners on first and second. And a big opportunity for Adrian Guzman that will draw a visit to the mound here by Paul Nochi.
That was a pitcher's fastball for sure there. That was a well-located fastball. Not much that Jalen Smith could do with that, but looks like it ran a little bit outside. A tough call from the home plate umpire there.
So Paul brings together the whole infield. It's De Los Santos at third, De La Cruz at short, Castellano at second, Crucina on first. Aberrant, the catcher here today. That look brought to you by AAA of Michigan. Single, triple? Is that what we're saying? Double, walk.
Stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Having a good time. A shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, go, go. There's no stopping me. No stopping, no stopping.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
Going to extra innings here today. It's the Hoppers, just from a De La Cruz.
Woolly Mammoth, we on a roll. Woolly Mammoth, we're number one. We work hard, play harder. We get better every day. Woolly Mammoth came to play 'cause we're strong. We play smarter. Woolly Mammoth, gray and white. We're in charge to do it right. Get ready, get ready. Getting started, getting started. Teamwork makes the dream work. We're going for the win, that's how we work. Woolly Mammoth, we on a roll. Woolly Mammoth, we're number one. Woolly Mammoth, we on a roll. Woolly Mammoth, we're number one.
You hear about the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward. Not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
Piloting a hot air balloon is my wife's passion, and she couldn't have a better wingman than my Chevy Equinox. Its stylish design rises above the rest, and with its 4G LTE Wi-Fi plus great gas mileage, Equinox keeps us connected mile after mile. With my Equinox, the sky isn't the limit.
Lease a 2021 Equinox LT for just $189 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
Stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Having a good time. A shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go
State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. fsbcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities. Where good neighbors do great things. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Make your move with a quick and easy mortgage from Genesis Credit Union. We have mortgages to fit your life. Genesis Credit Union. Visit us today.
Player of the game, a 2-1 victory here over the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. It took a while for you guys to collectively get a hit on the board. Weren't able to crack Velez until the 5th inning. Collectively, what wasn't clicking at the plate?
Yeah, you know, they have really good staff over there. He mixes pitches well. He's a tough guy, and we just had a battle the entire day. We had to adjust as well as they adjusted, and, you know, we just stuck to the plan.
Able to tally some hits in the 6th, but really broke out in the 7th, and there was a bit of a disappointment with McKinley's home run. Wasn't able to touch home plate. What was the reaction in the dugout?
I mean, obviously, it's not something you see every day, so it was a little bit of a disappointment, but, I mean, it's like we're resilient, you know. We just adjusted, and, you know, it wasn't just one person. The entire team stayed with the plan, like I said.
And going into the 7th inning, there were 2 outs when you stepped up to plate, runners on 1st and 2nd. How were you able to stay so comfortable after 3 pitching changes?
You know, it's just something you stick to a plan, you got an approach, and you just stick to it. And, you know, Jelly has been preaching all day not to miss the fastball, and that was all I had in my head, and just don't miss the fastball.
The win here today at Jimmy John's Field. How are you going to build on this momentum moving forward?
Yeah, you know, I think this is going to be a huge stepping stone. You know, we got the win column, and hopefully we can add a few more and keep it rolling.
Well, good work today, Adrian. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you for joining us here on the USPBL Network. We'll see you next time.